It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 170. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, March 8th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And today's show, we'll have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And third and final section, the miscellaneous talk section, is a break from all the video game talk. I like to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams, and that will be the case today. I'm recording a little bit later on this Sunday because there is no sports going on. There's no baseball, there's no football, so nothing good to watch sports-wise today. There has been a little bit of baseball going on, so I will talk about that at the end because that's been pretty exciting to see. But we got a lot of video game things to cover before we get to the baseball talk at the end. So let's get into the video game talk here on episode 170. All right, so what have I been playing since last week? It's been a very similar week to last week, particularly with this one game, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm still working on getting my money up. I think I made around 30,000 bells on the stock market this week, which is, I guess it's okay. It's a modest return, I would say, because I can get 30,000 from collecting the fruit on my island like every couple days. But, I'll take any kind of win on the stock market here with my turnips because it is a little bit worrisome of taking a loss. I've been pretty much putting all my money into it each week and hoping I can make some money. And it's been working out, so that's been nice. I did buy another incline. I don't know. I think I've done that since last week, but now my island is fully connected. Well, I guess it's like 90% connected, and that's pretty nice. It still has its natural feel for sure. There's still like long ways to get around. You still have to take the long way pretty much everywhere, but there's like two spots where you have to climb with the ladder to get up to that you can't get up to quite yet. So I guess those would be the two next things I'd want to work on, but it's really like the smallest portion of land on Showville Island, which is what my island is called in Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I've been, so it turned to spring. I got my character in a spring outfit ready for all the rain going on, and I'm just trying to make some money. I'm trying to think what else I want to say here about Animal Crossing. Yeah, I've been trying to get some new villagers to my island. I'm really not holding on to any of those too preciously besides Claude. I did use some Nook Miles tickets trying to find new islanders, and I went to 2 islands and found a bunch of duds and a bunch of nothings actually on either. I think I found, nobody even on the islands I went to. And then the campsite village visitors I've had, I walk into the tent and immediately walk out because they're so heinous looking of a character. I'm like, I don't want them on my island. They're scaring me already. But I've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, still enjoying this. So I have 175,000 bells in the stock market for this week. I went to a KK Slider concert yesterday and got a new record for the collection and just having a really great time with Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think I'm going to continue playing this. There's a game in the midsection I want to talk about that has me a little bit interested. It's definitely in the same kind of vein, but excuse me, I still think there's a lot to be done in Animal Crossing. My island is nowhere near to being even a 4-star island, but much less a 5-star island. I have been planting more flowers and trying to do some more decorative stuff now, so I have been moving into that phase a little bit of in the game, which is pretty fun. And there's tons and tons of customizable things, and I'm really having a lot of fun with this game. It's already 3 months into the year, and I've been playing this game more consistently than any game this year so far. Animal Crossing New Horizons has been very, very fun. All right, another game that I've been playing And this is the game I've actually probably spent the most time with this week, and that is Pokemon LeafGreen. This is the release of the Game Boy Advance game onto Nintendo Switch. And I played Pokemon, I guess it was Pokemon Blue back in the day, maybe some Pokemon Yellow. I don't know if I ever played these Leaf Green or Fire Red versions, but this game's been extremely fun. I think I'm almost 8 hours in. I just took down Brock, I think since I last talked to you, the first gym, the fighting type, and I've taken down Misty, which was the water type. So I'm currently in Cerulean City. I am trying to fight my way out of Cerulean City is my move right now. I think I need to fight a couple trainers until I get back to like a wild section, but I went through Mount Moon. That was pretty fun. Team Rocket was, posted up at different areas of Mount Moon, trying to hold me down, trying to steal fossils, and I ended up getting to the end and finding me and another professor took the fossils for ourselves. So pretty awesome, and vanquished Team Rocket in there and collected some Pokemon. I think I'm up to 15 Pokemon that I've captured that are rolling with me or in the box. I've been mainly using my Ivysaur as my strongest Pokemon, my starter, but I have a Pikachu and I have a Nidoran that are, I think my Ivysaur is like level 20, maybe like 26, 27, something like that. Maybe a little bit lower, I'm not sure. And then Pikachu and Nidoran are around like 13 or something like that. So I do need to level them up some more. I have a pretty good selection. I have a Magikarp I've been trying to level up. I let the Magikarp lead my party. Once I get into a battle, I switch the Magikarp to another Pokemon, finish the battle, and then it spreads the experience out between the Pokemon. Since Magikarp only has one move at the beginning, which is just Splash, and it has no effect. So this is, I guess, the only way you can level up Magikarp besides leaving Magikarp at the daycare is the other thing I found out. I did look up online. I think you need to catch 50 Pokemon to be able to get experience share. So that's something I would be really looking forward to because that would be nice. But I haven't really minded, doing the grinding in this game for whatever reason. It's been pretty relaxing. I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game. I did get the ability to run around quicker, so that's nice. I don't have 1 million credits in the game, so there's no way I can get to buy a bicycle yet. So I guess I'm going to get gifted a bike at some point. But I've been having fun. I've found the gyms to be pretty easy so far. I've been definitely over leveled. That's kind of my plan for the rest of the game, and I would like to get my, a couple of my Pokemon kind of on the same tier level wise. It would be nice because I haven't had like a ton of trouble battling, but there are instances where you do need other Pokemon besides just your one really amazing one that you built up because random things can happen. They can get put to sleep. That's something that's pretty annoying if they fall asleep because then there's really nothing you can do. You're taking damage. And if you don't have the, I guess it's called an awaken spell, then you're not really going to be able to do too much. Sometimes you can get paralyzed, and sometimes you can just meet a tough enemy that is your opposite type, and they can wipe you out. So I am finding it important to have some other Pokemon in my party, and I need to probably focus on that a little bit more even. So I've made some good progress on the gyms. I guess I need to go back to leveling now at this point. I need to finish out these trainers on the outskirts of Cerulean City and then get back into the wild and maybe catch some more Pokemon to level some Pokemon up and see when a couple of my Pokemon can possibly evolve. And I did get a Moonstone. I think that is it's definitely only for a particular type of Pokemon, but I feel like it's more of like a fairy type and maybe like a dark type. I don't know, but I don't know if any of my Pokemon are able to evolve with the Moonstone, but I still have more to figure out. So I've been having fun playing Pokemon Leaf Green, and yeah, I'm on to Route 24. Route 24 is where I'm at right now, if you are familiar with this game. So I highly recommend this. I do kind of think some of my early thoughts are I'm enjoying this a lot more than the modern Pokemon games. I kind of like the simplicity of it, and I don't know if it's like the nostalgia or whatever it is, but everything in this game, even the sound effects in this game and just everything in the game feels really, really great and looks good, and the Pokemon look cool, and it's a good variety of them, and random ones pop up at random times. So it's doing all the really good Pokemon stuff that's fun, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game this year, Pokemon Leaf Green. So I plan on continuing to play this, and I've been making some good progress. All right. So what else have I been playing? Those have been the main game I've been playing is Pokemon Leaf Green, and I've been kind of daily playing Animal Crossing New Horizons just for a little bit. And I also tried to get back into some Mario Tennis Fever last week, and I want to give an update on the Mario Tennis Fever for Nintendo Switch 2. I think the tennis in this game is really, really great. It's fun. I think my kind of like review on this game would be, don't buy this for the single player content. If you like playing online, or if you have people that can play local often, I think this is a fun game. I think there's some pretty good depth to the gameplay, and I think everything, there's a lot of characters, different cool rackets and things like that. And so all that, sounded pretty great. Having a lot of fun with this game, playing a lot of online matches, trying to get my rank up, actually having my rank go down a good bit. And I was always having, getting into matches extremely quick. Even the menus in this game are extremely quick, but all that online matchmaking is very simple in this game. Only a few different modes, and you were able to get into the matches quick. The matches are only to 7 points. Get into the next match and keep going, and having no problems. And then I did. It was like one of those things. I'm like, man, I don't know if it's seeming as quick recently in the last week or so. I'm like, I don't know. It still seems pretty quick. Maybe I'm just complaining for no reason. And then this week, I go to boot it up. I guess the month has switched over, so it's a new season going on in the game. And I search for a match, and nothing. It says, hey, you need to open up your search criteria to find other people playing. And I was like, man, just very, very disheartening this early in the life cycle of this game that you would think somebody would be playing online. You would think you don't have to play, try to find peak times around your area to play this game. That just doesn't seem viable in 2026. So I did it a couple more times, unable to find anything in the mode that I like playing. There's only 4 modes on online anyways, and it's just it's 4 modes. 2 are singles and 2 are doubles, and one has Fever Racket and one doesn't. So not crazy options, and I don't want to play, and so I just didn't play. And I guess I would I'll totally try to see if I can find matches again, but it's going to be a pretty big deterrent on this game for me, which this game was sort of tracking as my game of the year because it is the only new game I played this year really, and I've been enjoying it, so it would certainly be on my list. But I think if I'm going to be unable to find any matches already almost not even 2 months after the release of the game, I think it would be incorrect to try to put it on any game of the year list for me. So Mario Tennis Fever, you're on watch over here. I was having fun with you, but I guess I don't know what the problem is. Excuse me, with Mario Tennis, it's just not that big of a franchise, but you think enough people would be playing this online, but maybe not. I think online is a new mode to this game. So, you can maybe see me trade the Mario Tennis in at some point. Who knows? But I've been having fun with it, and I hope I just really can't see there being some point where a lot of people are going to start buying this game. I think it kind of just is what it is, and that's a little bit of a sad thing. It's definitely a pretty quality game, but I don't know, it might just not be, it might not have enough stuff in there, or it might not just enough demand for Mario Tennis out there. But I will definitely report back if I'm able to find some matches, because that would be fun to do it. This had me wanting to go back to Mario Kart World, or even back to some Splatoon 3, which I played Splatoon 3 during the Splatfest, but not so typically all the time. But this one has me thinking of going back to some other online games that I like, and that's a bad thing for you, Mario Tennis Fever. So those have been all the games I've been playing this week: Animal Crossing New Horizons, Pokemon LeafGreen, and Mario Tennis Fever. This is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show, so the theme of the year is to focus on new releases, not worrying about a backlog or creating lists or going back to the beginning of a franchise. If there's a new game I want to play, I'm going to try to play it. And my front log so far for this year, what I have so far is Forza Horizon 6 on May 19th. I'm going to have to wait for the PlayStation 5 release of that, and that's my most anticipated game right now. And that's my early guess for what I think my game of the year will be, because I love the Forza Horizon franchise. Mina the Hollower is a spring 2026 release. That's on my front log. Marvel Token Fighting Souls is August 6th. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 is August 27th, which I didn't realize until last week that's going to be released on the Switch 2. And maybe don't quote me on this, but I think the Switch 1 as well. So that one really is just going to every single platform, and that's pretty amazing. And I hope it's going to run quality on the Switch 2. I think every indication from recent third-party stuff would say, hey, it is going to run well on the Switch 2, and I think that's pretty exciting, because I thought this was pretty much just going to be a PC, Xbox, and PlayStation thing, but there's pre-orders available for Switch 2 and possibly even Switch 1, which is wild to me. And then the last game
that I have in my front log for the year is a recently announced date, which is Marvel's Wolverine, September 15th. I think I'm probably tied. This one's up there with Forza Horizon 6. It's probably the only one that's really contending for my most anticipated, but Forza Horizon 6 is holding that crown right now for most anticipated, most excited game for me. And it's the most recent one, I guess, on my front log, so that's pretty nice. So, year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's everything I got for you for this first section. That's everything I've been playing, and a little update on the theme of the year of the front log. So I'm going to wrap up this first section. You're going to hear some lovely break music, and I'm going to come back for the midsection where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 170. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first update is a PlayStation one. So this is in regards to exclusivity for PlayStation games. So it's reported through Bloomberg, and this all seems pretty credible, that Sony will no longer port its PlayStation exclusives to PC. And Sony did not respond to a request for comment, but it seems like we are going to see this play out in real time of their actual strategy. So I think the most recent game, which is a wonderful game, Ghost of Yotei, has been the one that everyone kind of has on the docket of, hey, when's this going to be coming to PC? Because there's been a pretty normal cadence of PlayStation 5 games coming out and then having a certain amount of time where it releases on PC after. We've seen that with like Horizon and God of War. The Last of Us games have been put on there, all the Marvel Spider-Mans. I guess Death Stranding kind of counts. That's a little bit more third party, but it looks like their strategy going forward is going to be pulling back these exclusives from PC. And, you know, I was reading some articles or whatever about this, and they're saying the global memory shortage could be a factor. They're saying the PlayStation 5 life cycle may end up being longer. So maybe they want to give people more of a reason to buy the console. And giving, you know, a reason to buy the console would be if you had exclusives on there. There's also, you know, the next Microsoft console, which is, I guess, a little bit of a spoiler of what we're going to be talking about later. But the next Microsoft console has been rumored for a long time to be a combination of Xbox and just having Steam or like a Windows storefront on there. And it really seems like it's going that way. And possibly PlayStation doesn't want to, I don't know, you might not want to have their product on just every Xbox or every PC out there and give people, you know, I don't know. Either way, I think you would think if there was a global shortage, consoles are not getting any less, or, you know, they're only getting more expensive. So I don't know. That was just one kind of take on it, was maybe somehow they're trying to, since they're going to be trying to sell the PlayStation 5 for a little bit longer than originally intended, maybe they want to have the exclusives on there to actually sell the hardware. I think that was the one take I heard and thought was pretty interesting. Let's see. It looks like Marvel Token Fighting Souls is the one that has been confirmed to still be PC and PS5, but it just seems like anything going forward, we're not going to be seeing a PlayStation exclusive going to PC. And it seems like there's some questions out there about the sales of these games on PlayStation. Maybe like something the juice isn't worth the squeeze on, you know, having to port the game over and optimize it for PC. And they really didn't seem maybe potentially too big of a return. I think there's a bunch of different factors here, but this is something that we will see. Obviously we will see, but I think the announcement for like Ghost of Yotei PC would have been sometime soon. So I think we'll kind of know our answer at least by summertime, or possibly some of the big summer announcements of if this is actually going to be true. So just a little bit of an update on PlayStation strategy going forward with the PlayStation 5, maybe seeing a little bit more lengthening of the PlayStation 5 era, which I think is probably a smart move. I think for the gamers out here, or for people that actually play games, I think it feels like the PlayStation 5 has barely gotten started. So I would love a longer life cycle on the PlayStation 5, and I think that's probably a smart strategy. All right, but the next announcement from this past week I want to tell you about is something I just talked about, and this one's called Project Helix. And this is from Microsoft. So they formally announced its next generation Xbox console. So this might be the name. It might just be a code name, but it's Project Helix. And Asha Sharma, the new Microsoft Gaming CEO, confirmed this console will play Xbox and PC games. It will lead in performance, very premium, high-end device. And I wrote down I like the theory of this basically being a PC that plays backwards compatible Xbox games. So that's another rumor mill thing I read on here, is that they say Xbox and PC games, but all the Xbox games on this are going to potentially be backwards compatible games. There's no longer going to be games sold under the Xbox banner. I guess it would just be having Steam on here and having I'm trying to think about this through right now, but I guess think of that ROG Ally that came out earlier in the year. I think they're kind of talking about this Helix will have a Windows front. I forget what they call it, the home screen, the Windows full screen experience. It's going to have a little bit of Xbox in there, but mainly just be a gaming PC. And I think there's some still questions in here about the future of Xbox. I mean, if they're just going to be selling you a gaming PC with, holding on to a little bit of backwards compatibility stuff from Xbox, and if Xbox is not going to have any exclusives, I think this is not as much of a win as an announcement as like an Xbox fan would want for the next console. I still think this is a wait and see. I think it's cool to have something that would be playing Steam on there. I think that would be cool even on the PlayStation side of things. I just don't know how necessary it is as someone who has a PlayStation 5. There's not really too many games I feel like I miss out on that are on Steam or whatever, and I'm not able to access them on PlayStation 5. So I just don't know how much realistically if somebody already owned an Xbox Series X or X, of why would they want to, I guess for the more power in this. I don't know. Or I guess the argument may be if you already had a PC, if you already had a computer, why would you want to buy this console? And I think that argument is probably getting lesser and lesser as time goes forward. And I think they would have to know that. So just more interesting strategy stuff from Xbox. Project Helix has been announced. They're saying it's going to be a very premium high-end device. That doesn't sound like something they're going to be trying to sell a lot of to a lot of, I mean, I guess all these companies call their products, the most elite high-end device, but something in that, everything that Xbox is doing is totally under an extreme microscope right now. So looking into these words is going to be done by a lot of people. And I think it's kind of right to question some of their strategy right now. And this one immediately kind of sounded like a good thing, but like I'm just saying with the PlayStation 5, I feel like I feel like a lot of people think this generation has barely gotten started. So having Xbox jump right into saying, hey, we're going to be trying to hook you up with the next generation already, it's just like, I don't know. I think these companies are really bad at reading the room or reading the current temperature. I feel like they're oftentimes like way, way behind, trying to play catch up, or they're trying to jump onto trends. And it's pretty amazing how they're seemingly fumbling these things. I know these companies make a lot of money, but they get a lot of questions these days, and I think rightfully so on some of these things. And people are less and less like really big fans of these companies or boxes and things like that. And I think maybe they're going to be trying to grasp a little bit of that back, and I don't know if they can. So Project Helix has been announced from Microsoft, their next generation console. All right, an update on the Steam machine. We talked about this in the last few weeks. And I think the recent update is Valve says they hope to ship in 2026. So I believe I have predicted this one correctly. I don't know if that's too tough a prediction, but I really could see this thing getting pushed. I think they were saying, hey, this was originally going to come out early in the year, they said. And then I think they said, oh yeah, it'll be this year, don't worry. And now they're saying we're hoping to ship in 2026. So skyrocketing prices for memory and storage have caused challenges, is the word on the street. But the Steam Machine is the console that's coming with over 6 times the horsepower of Steam Deck. Steam Machine has the power to play your whole Steam library, including your favorite AAA titles. Just sign in with your Steam account, and your entire library is there. So another one where this is a cool idea. I think the price is going to be crazy, and I think that's really going to be the thing they're missing on this. I don't think people are going to want to have to pay the premium price to have their games just look a little bit better, where the games now already look fine. I think the games from past generations still look fine. And maybe that is an older gamer take. I don't know if that's the case, because I feel oftentimes younger people don't even care about graphics really too much at all. They just kind of like to play whatever's fun or whatever their friends like to play. But I think they're going to be missing the mark a little bit with some of these things. And I don't know, maybe people are naturally going to play their PlayStation 5 longer than try to jump into something more forward-facing, because because of how slow the games are released these days, or especially like big AAA titles or things you would need to sell a new console. And those games are few and far between, and I don't know if that's going to be changing either. So just interesting. Steam Machine definitely seems like a cool concept. I was more interested when it seemed more of like an affordable, kind of inexpensive option. I don't think anything these days is going to be really a great deal when it comes to hardware. But, getting over I'm about to say the $1,000 range. But, we've barely gotten into the $700 range on like the PlayStation 5 Pro, $600 range. I kind of think that's where things would still need to be for people to consider buying them. And I think even that price point is far out of reach for a lot of people to even want to think about getting one. So that's just strange. I feel like this is going a little bit more towards the way phones go, and I definitely don't get a new phone hardly ever, and it really doesn't bother me. And whenever I do get a new one, it's just kind of nice for a little bit, and then just kind of goes back into being a normal phone. And I think consoles are going a little bit more that way, and I think that's okay, because if you have the ability to play the games, and if it's just in a little bit of a lighter fashion, I don't think that's too crazy. So I do enjoy the options. I think it's just definitely a change from the way things are run in the past, and I guess that's a reason you would question them. But some interesting stuff, and I guess some challenging stuff, as these companies like to say, are going on. But there's challenging stuff going on all the time, always. So they got to figure it out. All right, so that's kind of the update on some of the big companies going on, and some hardware stuff. So let's get into some video game talk and news. This one's just a couple of reminders of games that have come out recently that are really big releases. I think these are going to be contenders for Game of the Year for a lot of people, and these games have been just very successful. The first one's Resident Evil Requiem. This released on February 27th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Switch 2, Steam, and Epic Game Store. And I haven't really heard anybody say they're disappointed in the way it runs on Switch 2. So I just want everybody to know that out there. If you have an affinity for playing Resident Evil on a Nintendo console, it seems like this is the best way, or like one of the most incredible ways to play one on a Nintendo console. And this one has sold 5 million copies in 5 days, so approximately $350 million of USDs in revenue. $69.99 US dollars for a copy. I think these have been sold out at a lot of places too. So if you're looking to play this, you might have to just really pick up a digital copy. The Switch 2 version is a game key card, but those are sold out, and people have been liking the game key cards for some of these third-party games. I guess some people still like having the physical item that they can trade in or give to a friend or lend to a friend, or possibly just have something on the shelf. I think that's still around a little bit, and maybe not going completely away like some of these publishers and developers would like, I guess. But Resident Evil Requiem is the 9th Resident Evil. It's a mainline game. Requiem for the dead, nightmare for the living. Prepare to escape death in a heart-stopping experience that will chill you to your core. This is one definitely on my radar. I would really like to play this on Switch. I think that would be really fun. I've said I think I can be a little bit tougher if I was playing in handheld to be getting through a horror game, but there's still a lot of things that, some of the gory stuff, and maybe is a little bit of a turnoff to me nowadays, and I don't know, but I definitely have a lot of interest in this, and I've really kind of only heard good things about Resident Evil Requiem, so I just want to remind you that is available now. The next game, same kind of case. I talked about this a little bit, or alluded to this a little bit in the first section, but Pokemon Pokopia is available right now. This released on March 5th for Nintendo Switch 2. It's $69.99 US dollars, and it's a game key card, and it's been sold out a lot of places. This is the one where you play as Ditto and build a new life with Pokemon from the ground up. With help from your Pokemon friends, rebuild a desolate world into a charming utopia one step at a time. So I have definitely watched a few different people online play this, different outlets, and it seems like there's some good multiplayer stuff in here. If you have a group of people that want to play this, it looks like you can kind of maintain one server, one island, hop in there, work on it together simultaneously, work on it, when other people aren't in there. Sounds very fun. Seems like a lot of good, it definitely has a lot of Animal Crossing vibes, and I was watching people play it, and this one's going to be on the lookout for me this year. This one's going to be, I guess I was kind of thinking about this. Whenever I get tired of playing Animal Crossing New Horizons this year, you might see me switching over to Pokemon Pokopia, because it looks like that can kind of satisfy a similar daily kind of something to jump into on a daily basis that you don't have to play a ton of, and then some days you'll just play a whole bunch of it. And I'm definitely on a Pokemon kick recently. I've been playing LeafGreen, and I think this one, it could be a pretty cool. I think I could get into it, but I'm just not immediately jumping into it. But everything I've heard, I think it's one of the highest rated Pokemon games already. It definitely looks very cool and interesting, and Pokemon Pokopia is available right now. All right, what else happened last week I want to tell you about? There was a Nintendo Indie World Showcase. It took place on March 3rd. It was at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. in the morning. It was roughly 15 minutes of news and updates on indie games coming to Switch and Switch 2. And so if you want to go watch that, please go watch the video on their YouTube. It will show you all the announcements. I think the two coolest announcements from this Nintendo Indie World Showcase were, I think the final game announced was Blueprints, and this is finally available on Nintendo Switch. I guess it's just Switch 2. It's $29.99 for Blueprints. It's on sale currently for 34% off until March 12th. So you have a couple days. You're listening to this podcast in real time to get Blueprints digitally on Switch for $19.79 US dollars. The developer is Dogu Bomb. The publisher is Raw Fury. And in this game, you draft your own adventure. Welcome to Mount Holly, the mysterious manor with shifting rooms. In Blueprints, you embark on a genre-defying experience filled with a unique mix of mystery, strategy, and puzzles that weave together to create an unpredictable journey. Will your explorative steps lead you to the rumored Room 46? So this was a Game of the Year contender for a lot of people last year. This game released April of 2025. It seems like a really amazing, cool, kind of unique puzzle game, and I'm just generally not a fan of puzzle games, so it would take a lot for me to want to jump into this, but I definitely only heard a majority of positive things from this game, highly just all positive. So if you have any interest in puzzle games, this one might be the perfect one for you. This seems like a Game of the Year contender type of game if you're into puzzle games, and possibly if you're not, you might be able to get into it too. So I know a lot of people love Blueprints, and it's going to open it up to a whole new audience over on Nintendo Switch 2. Right now it's available, Blueprints. All right, another game that it's been out for 2 years, which has been surprising to me. I thought this game came out last year on Steam, and that's Minishoot Adventures. And I've been wanting to play this kind of since it released. A lot of the outlets I like and people I follow were playing this game and really into it. And it's finally available now for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. So you can still play this on Nintendo Switch 1, which is very nice. It is $15.99, so a nice price point for a video game. Developer and publisher is Soul Game Studio. This one is an adventure that mixes up open exploration with twin-stick shooter action. Fly into a charming, handcrafted world and go on an adventure that mixes up open exploration with crispy twin-stick shooter action. Fight your way from the shiny overworld to the deepest caves, improve your ship, and overcome the dungeon's bosses to rescue your friends. So I think the most common comparison I've heard has been it's like Zelda Link to the Past mixed with Vampire Survivors. So I guess it has some Zelda vibes, enemy styles possibly, but it's more of a twin-stick shooter going around the world like Vampire Survivors game. So this one, everyone talks extremely highly of this. This seems like something I want to purchase at some point. I'm a little bit trying to focus my game playing down just to a couple games to see if I can make some progress, and it's been working a little bit on the Pokemon Leaf Green. But this is definitely one that I put on my wish list, and I could see myself purchasing in the future, and I'm very happy that it's available on Nintendo Switch. So those are really the two biggest announcements from the Nintendo Indie World Showcase that I thought were important from last week. But please go watch that if you want to see some more indie announcements and possibly some other games you might be into. And then more Nintendo announcements. For Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, the Nintendo Classics are getting some additions. For the Virtual Boy, we're getting Mario Tennis and Mario Clash. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to Mario Clash. And then Game Boy Advance is getting Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And all of these are going to release on the subscription service on Mario Day, which is March 10th. So that's just a couple days away in the upcoming week. There's also a lot of sales going on, I guess digitally and in stores as well for Mario games. So if you're looking to get a copy of Super Mario Wonder, or I don't know about Mario Kart. I think I saw Luigi's Mansion 3 was on sale. I saw Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. So if you're looking for some first party Nintendo stuff, it might possibly be on sale right now for the upcoming Mario Day, and maybe for like the week after or whatever. So Mario Day in the upcoming week as well is some news. But a couple additions to Nintendo Switch Online. Mario Tennis, Mario Clash, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. All right. there was a video game that released this year on January 26th. It was called Highguard. And the news here is probably not too surprising to anybody, but this game is going offline on March 12th. So first off, I guess, just sad for the developer and publisher, Wildlight Entertainment. Seems like they put a lot of time and effort and money into this game. A lot of promotion, I guess. This is the game that closed out the Game Awards last year from Jeff Keighley. And then we really didn't hear anything about it until a couple days before its release on January 26th. It had, I think, 96,000 people played this game. Was the peak, but then it really got down to just a few thousand. And I think, maybe less than 1,000. I think I heard they expected maybe to have around 6,000. This is just kind of really, really, I don't know if any of this is verified, but it was like they expected possibly, like, I guess one of their lower marks would be 6,000 concurrent players they'd be able to maintain, but it doesn't even seem like they were really hitting those numbers. And either way, this game was a huge disappointment, and pretty wild to see a game go offline just less than 2 months after release. So Highguard, I guess we'll talk about in the past tense. I mean, you can still play it for a couple days, but it was a PvP raid shooter where players will ride, fight, and raid as wardens, arcane gunslingers sent to fight for control of a mythical continent. So just even that title and description just seems very bland. Nothing really too unique about it. I think that's just kind of the case with this game. I think that the bones of it were good. The basic combat was okay, but there's just nothing really unique that makes it stand out in the current environment, where I think a lot of people are happy with. I don't even know if that's true, because there have been successful games that have been releasing that people have been getting into. I think Marathon's even one that's trying it right now. But, not just Fortnite or Roblox. And I guess Highguard's different. I mean, there's other shooters people play. Marvel Rivals, people have been back into Overwatch. I mean, there's definitely a lot of options out there. Helldivers is one I was thinking of recently too, and the one Arc Raiders from last year. So, I mean, it is possible for some of these games to hit, but I think it is a big gamble these days for if you really aren't confident and aren't sure it's going to be successful. I just think it's really, really tough. So Highguard is going offline on March 12th. So, thoughts and prayers to everyone over there at that studio. That's just sad news for them. They were trying to make a good game and release it, and it was not successful. All right, so talking about a game that released last week, I think this was a little bit of a surprise that this game kind of dropped last week. It is in early access, and that's Slay the Spire 2. So Slay the Spire 1 is a mega kind of indie classic cult, I guess almost mega mainstream almost, or I guess it almost is, hit. Developer and publisher is Mega Crit. And Slay the Spire 2, the iconic roguelike deck builder, returns, craft a unique deck, encounter bizarre creatures, and discover relics of immense power. It's $24.99 US. It's only available on PC at the moment on Steam. And this one will definitely be coming to Switch at some point. I would assume possibly Switch 1 still, but definitely Switch 2. And they are probably doing everything they can to get this game ready for 1.0 and going to Nintendo Switch, because they will be making a lot of sales of Slay the Spire 2 whenever that happens. But if you are a PC gamer, you can play Slay the Spire right now. Slay the Spire 2 right now. I watched Rachel K. She's a streamer on YouTube and Twitch. She's played some of this. I think Janet Garcia was playing some of this. She does her own podcast, the Gangcast, and also is on MinMax. So if you want to see some gameplay of that, please go check out those two. All right, so that's Slay the Spire 2, available now in early access. All right, a video game from Bethesda Game Studios is coming to PlayStation 5. So we talked earlier about PlayStation 5 games possibly not going other places, but we are still seeing games come to PlayStation 5 from other places. So Starfield, I don't know if this one's official, but there was a leak last week that says this is coming to PlayStation 5 on April 7th. So really that's less than a month away if you're listening in real time. So I think this one's still under the rumor mill report, but probably true, and maybe it's actually going to get announced in the upcoming week. So just putting that on your radar. It looks like Starfield is coming to PlayStation 5, which Starfield's the first new universe in 25 years from Bethesda Game Studios, the award-winning creators of The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, and Fallout 4. The initial release of Starfield was 2023. All right, so new game alert. This one, I don't know if I have particular interest in this, so I've just kind of been seeing some good hype or, excitement bubbling up about this game called Replaced. It's all capitals, it's Replaced, and it's releasing on April 14th for Xbox Series and PC. The developer is Sad Cat Studios, the publisher is Thunderful Publishing, And in this game, you're going to expose the sinister secrets of a Phoenix corporation as Reach, an AI trapped in a human body set in an alternate 1980s America scarred by nuclear catastrophe, navigate a dark cyberpunk thriller in this narrative-driven 2.5D platformer, blending cinematic exploration with fluid free-flow action. There's no price shown, but there is a demo available now, and I just wanted to make you aware of this one's out there. It seems like a lot of people are into this and looking forward to this release, so I want to make sure you know Replaced is coming out on April 14th. Another game that is probably not in my wheelhouse. I never played this game on PlayStation 5 or 4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, or PC when it initially released in September 2022. But the announcement is Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 this spring. So I think I'm just happy about this in terms of seeing more third-party stuff coming to Switch 2 and hopefully going to be optimized and running well on the console. So Kena Bridge of Spirits is a story-driven action-adventure combining exploration with fast-paced combat. Untangle the past as Kena, a young spirit guide in search of the sacred mountain shrine. Help free the spirits trapped in a forgotten village with the help of the Rot, her adorable yet powerful spirit companion. The developer and publisher is Ember Lab, and the price on this one's it looks like it's going to be a similar price to on the other platforms. It's going to be $39.99 US for Kena Bridge of Spirits coming to Nintendo Switch 2 this spring. All right, we got numerous updates on a franchise, and that one is Assassin's Creed. So they talked to Gene, I guess Guzdan. He's the head of content, and he wanted to share an update on what they have planned for the rest of the year across the Assassin's Creed franchise. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is one called Codename HEXE, so HEXE. And the head of content said, while we know we haven't shared much about this one yet, it's being built with great care by our veteran team here at Ubisoft Montreal. Expect a unique, darker, narrative-driven Assassin's Creed experience set during a pivotal moment in history. So I guess that's the top dog of their development crew or potential right now would be whatever they have going on called Codename HEXE. That sounds like what most traditional or Assassin's Creed fans would be excited for, so it sounds pretty interesting. Another one they bring up is Codename INVICTUS. And this one is a PvP multiplayer Assassin's Creed experience led by a dedicated team of For Honor veterans at Ubisoft Montreal. So I think this one qualifies under the territory of a big gamble, the one we could possibly see getting canceled, and something that I think would be cool if it was included with a baseline Assassin's Creed game. I think I was saying that on a couple podcasts back, where games back in the day a lot of times would have both modes in one game. There just became some point where that got split off, but a lot of times there would be a online mode in some random game, and it would randomly hit or randomly be fun, randomly have players in there playing. And I think that would be a nice feature. I think that could possibly be a way to get people to, I don't know what's the word, like I don't want to say soften their palate, but like make it easier for them to want to try one of these. And then you're obviously going to be trying to sell them something in the game, some skins or something, or have some more updated content in the future. But, actually just include the online experience with the single player experience. What a novel concept. And I would love to see that happen more in the video game world, especially with a lot of these multiplayer flops coming out. I think that could be, maybe you're not going to win over the moon or be the next Fortnite, but you could have a successful mode within your game that could sell a lot of copies of the game you created. And that's what these companies and developers are ultimately trying to do. So a little bit of shade in there to Codename INVICTUS, but who knows? Maybe they'll can come out with something good. That is possible. Like I talked about Helldivers and Arc Raiders, like some of these people do come in and are able to make something unique and fun that people want to play. But Assassin's Creed also confirmed. This one's probably one of the most exciting announcements from the slew of announcements about Assassin's Creed, and they have confirmed I guess they're calling it a Resynched version, but that is of Assassin's Creed Black Flag is getting a Resynched version. So confirmation, announcement, screenshot, splash screen shown was pretty much all they showed of this, but they're just saying that it exists. We're getting some updated version of Assassin's Creed Black Flag in the future. And the last thing I want to tell you about from the Assassin's Creed update is Assassin's Creed Unity is getting a free 60 frames per second patch available now for Xbox Series and PlayStation 5. So if you're a big Assassin's Creed fan or going back to play some of the older ones, I think that's the one set in France. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's cool when older games get updates like this. I think it's just very, very nice for people who love the game or people who are going back in the franchise. Just nice to have some updates, and shout out to them for doing that work to make it happen. And those are all the Assassin's Creed updates I have for you. So quite a lot from Assassin's Creed, and I think some of that is generally pretty interesting. I think Assassin's Creed Shadows did pretty well last year, and something I could see myself playing some more in the future. All right, the last update, or last thing I want to tell you about here in the midsection is a mobile release. I don't usually talk about mobile games unless it's like a game or franchise I really like, but Ball Pit is officially coming to mobile, and I don't think I knew the date last week, but it's going to be March 12th. So that is in the upcoming week. Ball Pit is going to mobile. I still don't see a price. This game is $14.99 US on Steam, so I don't know if the mobile price is going to be similar or a little bit less, but Ball Pit is launching on iOS and Android March 12th. It's a brick-breaking, ball-fusing, base-building survival roguelite. Batter hordes of enemies with ricocheting balls and gather the riches of the pit to expand your homestead. Generate resources and recreate unique heroes. A developer is Kenny Sun and Friends, published by Devolver Digital. This game initially released last year in October. It's extremely fun, and I think is a perfect game for mobile, so I think it's going to sell just as well and possibly have even more longevity on mobile. I think they have a really big hit over there with Ball Pit, and I think it does have some new content in it, and I would anticipate more content coming to it later, potentially free, or I would guess free. Then maybe they'll have some more, maybe even greater content, who knows. But I think Ball Pit is great. If you definitely not heard about it, please go check it out. It's definitely a really good Switch game, but if you are a mobile gamer, this would be one I think you should, check out even more. So that's everything I got for you in the midsection. That's everything I wanted to tell you about. We talked about PlayStation and maybe an update to some of their exclusive titles. We talked about Project Helix from Microsoft. We talked about the Steam Machine. We talked about Resident Evil Requiem, Pokemon Pokopia. We talked about the Nintendo Indie World Showcase, including Blueprints and Minishoot Adventures. We talked about Nintendo Switch Online adding Mario Tennis, Mario Clash, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. We talked about Highguard, Slay the Spire 2, Starfield replaced Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Assassin's Creed, including Codename HEXE, Codename INVICTUS, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynched, and Assassin's Creed Unity. And the final thing we talked about was Ball Pit coming to mobile. So that's everything I have for you in the midsection of the show. That's all the video game news, all the video game thoughts I have for you. But there's still one final section of the show to go. That's the miscellaneous talk section. It's usually pretty short and sweet. I actually have some pretty good updates on my favorite teams this week. So if you enjoy listening to my journey through fandom, the ups and the downs, a lot of downs, please come back for the final section, and just please come back for the final section either way, because I'm asking nicely. So please come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 170. This is the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports as always and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. So my favorite NFL team, the Carolina Panthers. It's the off season for them right now, but the NFL draft is taking place April 23rd through the 25th. So that's the next exciting thing, I guess, going on for the NFL season. It has also been announced that the Panthers are going to be playing in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game on Thursday, August 6th in Canton, Ohio. They're going to be playing the Cardinals. So this is the annual kickoff exhibition game for the NFL preseason, and generally kind of a game you might not watch, but definitely something to build some hype for the NFL season. It's nice to see the Panthers be first in anything, and I'll be probably tuning in for the beginning of that game to see if any of the stars are going to be playing. And then for the rest of the NFL, one of my, I guess this is my favorite player outside the Panthers, or maybe still my favorite player in the league, is DJ Moore, former Carolina Panther, has been traded from the Chicago Bears to the Buffalo Bills. So Josh Allen is getting an incredible receiver, and hopefully he's very happy. And I guess DJ Moore should be happy to play with Josh Allen. They were getting some pretty good things going in Chicago, but the Bears are going to get a second and a fifth. And I think they have a young receiver that they're really excited about. And I guess I'm happy for DJ Moore, possibly, having some Super Bowl chances over there with the Bills. The Bills have been, contenders for the Super Bowl, or everyone kind of has them pegged as one. They haven't really gotten over the hump, but, good things for my guy DJ Moore. And I wish him well always, because he is very, very fun to watch, and miss him as a Carolina Panther. All right, so those are my NFL updates. For the NBA, I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident in the last couple years. Since last week, Tuesday versus Dallas, the Hornets won 117-90. Wednesday at Boston, the Hornets won 118-89. Friday versus Miami, the Hornets won 128-120. Sunday at Phoenix, so the Hornets are playing tonight at 10 p.m. So I need to remember that because I would like to tune in to check some of that out. And then next week, the Hornets are playing Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio. And the Hornets hype has still been building, and that's pretty exciting to see. They played Boston last week. They didn't quite get to see Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum is back from his ACL, I believe it is. He played Friday night, and I saw him throw it down on a pretty crazy dunk, so he looks pretty healthy, so wild to see. But the Atlanta Hawks, my favorite team, who I've been disappointed in since they traded Trae Young. Last Sunday versus Portland, the Hawks won 135-101. Wednesday at the Bucks, the Hawks won 131-113. Saturday versus Philly, Hawks won 125-116. So I think Jalen Johnson and then Jonathan Kuminga actually playing well has made the Trae Young pain go away just a little bit less, but it hasn't really got me fully back invested into the Hawks season yet. But a big string of wins is nice to see for my alleged favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks. Next week they play Dallas, Brooklyn, and the Bucks. And I need to check my gentleman's bet with an ungentleman, Mr. Pab. We have a bet between the Hawks and the Mavs wins. Regular season wins, whatever team has more wins, the other one has to buy them a hat of their choosing. So I hope I'm in line to win that bet. I don't think the Hawks are really doing that great, but I think they're doing a little bit better than Dallas, so I need to double check on that. All right, so that's all the NBA updates I have for you. And then for my favorite sport in the world, Major League Baseball, my favorite team, the Atlanta Braves, it is spring training for them, so they've been playing some games. But the Braves season is going to begin on March 27, 2026 versus the Royals, so I'm looking very forward to that. It's only just a couple weeks away. It's pretty incredible. And some pretty incredible and the opposite, or I guess pretty unbelievable news, or it is pretty believable. But Jurickson Profar, the recent signing, Mr. 33-year-old, the Braves signed him, I guess last year to a 3-year, $42 million contract, in January of 2025. He has been suspended. Jurickson Profar, the designated hitter, receives a 162-game suspension an entire season after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug for the second time in the past year. So pretty unbelievable that this could happen to you again, and you're getting banned for an entire season. So he was positive for exogenous testosterone and its metabolites. He will forfeit the entirety of his $15 million salary and will be ineligible for the postseason. And I guess, the worst part about this to me is the Braves have $15 million just on the dead cap, I guess. They're not having to pay it to him, but I don't think they can use that money elsewhere, and that's a pretty big chunk of their payroll. Or it's not an insignificant portion of their payroll. Profar is also ineligible for the World Baseball Classic, which is taking place right now, where he was set to represent the Netherlands, where Ozzy Albies is playing for, whose team includes players from his native Curacao. And Ozzy Albies walked them off yesterday with a home run, a 3-run bomb, I believe it was, and just super exciting to see for one of my favorite players. But Profar, just extremely disappointing. And the Braves have had really, really bad luck recently in the last couple of years. Some of it's their own doing for sure. Some of it's just not performing or executing. But they really have had some bad luck with signings and deals they've done and player injuries. And the Profar thing has just been extremely frustrating because they spent some money and have gotten zero in return. And it's taking down a portion of their salary that they could be using on players that can actually play. And they could use some extra contributors on the Braves these days with how they've been playing recently. So just very sad. And I don't know. I don't know if the Braves can get over the Jurickson Profar era. So, maybe we'll be seeing him on a different team in the future. But the World Baseball Classic is going on right now. It's been extremely wonderful to watch. And I've watched, I guess, the majority of 2 games. I watched a little bit of Venezuela the other day too, but Friday USA played Brazil. USA won 15-5, so they were, a pretty good beat down there. Saturday, last night they played Great Britain. USA won 9-1. It was a close game early on. Schwarber had a bomb early that kind of got USA in the lead, and then they opened it up in one inning where they had the bases loaded, and I think they cleared the bases with a hit or got 2 people in and really got the ball rolling and took down Great Britain. So USA is going to play Mexico tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on Fox, and then Tuesday they're playing Italy, 9 p.m. on FS1. So I'll be looking forward to that and looking forward to more of those games in the World Baseball Classic. It's getting me really excited for the baseball season. It's fun seeing the guys on their different teams, and they're out there competing. It's high-level baseball. Judge out there playing like a monster. Schwarber out there doing his thing. It's cool seeing the mix of veterans and young guys on the USA squad. And it's cool seeing Ozzy out there and just other players I like across the league playing on their teams too. So I'm extremely ready for the baseball and excited to be watching the World Baseball Classic. And that is everything I got for you for this final section of the show. So just an update on all my favorite teams, the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves. And we talked a little bit about the World Baseball Classic, just some general MLB stuff. So that's going to wrap up this final section. That's going to wrap up the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch you play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. I thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. If things are going poorly, I hope that changes. If things are going good for you, I hope that continues. I hope you get to play some video games. I hope you win the lottery. Hope you get to eat something good. Hope you get to see your friends and family. Hope you get some time off work. And, I hope you come back and listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show next week, because that's where I'll be. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.